Welcome back to the Cruise Dynasty Podcast. Back at it again. Gambling edition for your ass. It's time to go and make that money. We drop gambling episodes once a week, every Thursday before Thursday Night Football. So coming at you with a whole slate last week. Game lines, 1-3, lost 4, taking the L. Take the L on the game line, but 59% on the year, so still hot. Over and unders, we were 5-4. So shout out to the Craftman and NDB. They the ones mainly hopping on that one. 50% on the year. Making that money. Just got to get the right combinations to make that cash. So, like I say, every episode, if you go and look at the descriptions, every bet that the crew has placed is in the description. And we got a full slate coming at you for this week. I got 8 game lines. I got 19 over and unders. So I threw my hat in the ring a lot in this one this week. I saw some lines that I liked. Went all in. So if we do bad this week, the Craftman and NDB, they can blame me. But heck, we're going to get right to it this week. Straight to business. Bounce back. Making that money this week. And me and the poor man P. Miller. Mostly going with Vegas. I'm going with Vegas this week. I seen the public is all over some of these lines, and I'm just going to go against them. You know, Vegas got to make money somehow. Someone's paying for them big-ass tall buildings out there, so we're going to start it off. Green Bay, -5.5 versus Chicago. Chicago been struggling. Green Bay were always on teams that those organizations that are buttoned up with a franchise quarterback, all on it. Cleveland, money line versus New Orleans. We messed up on this one last week because the Falcons suck. You can't trust them. I hate them. No, I'm just kidding. But the Falcons, man, come on, man. There's a couple games this year that we just should not have dropped. We should not go down to New Orleans and lose. But I'm going right back at it. The poor man P. Miller agrees. Cleveland, money line, going into New Orleans. Both of those teams stink, but I think the Saints, it's like it always works out like that. The first game, after the coach is fired, the team always wins, but really they suck. They never finish out strong. Cleveland, they're going to go down to New Orleans. They're going to get the wins, and they're going to do what the Falcons couldn't do. San Francisco, -6.5 versus Seattle. I kind of like the over in this game, but I wasn't going to pull the trigger on it. Poor man P. Miller's all over this one. Me and him both agree. Buffalo, -2 versus Kansas City. This is where it is. I'm just betting on the streak ending, them being undefeated. I just think it's over with this time. Josh Allen and them. At home, I'm taking them -2. Another game where they're, me and the poor man P. Miller, we all over. Going against the public. We're going with Vegas is the Chargers at home versus Cincinnati. Phil's going to take them to cover the spread, -1.5. I'm going to take a money line to win outright. Chargers, book it. And you can tell the way Vegas, if you go look at the over and under in this game, I ain't got it in front of me, but you can tell the way Vegas thinks. If the Chargers are going to win, they're favored. The under is probably going to hit in this game. New England +4.5 versus the Rams. I feel good. I've been thinking about this one all week. Locked it in. It was at +5 at one point, but +4.5 is where I've seen it mostly. I'm just starting to buy into Drake May and him being the Patriots quarterback for the next 4 to 7 years. So New England +4.5. It's in New England, 1 o'clock. Stafford, they couldn't score a touchdown last week, so let's see what it looks like this week. And then one that I'm siding on with the over, 39.5. It's the only over and under that I got for the game lines, and that one's going with the public at 39.5. So by the time you place this bet on Saturday night, it'll probably be at 40.5. So catch it early. Tennessee versus Minnesota. Will Levis throw a couple bombs, maybe hit Calvin Ridley for a long touchdown, and Minnesota do their part, and that one will hit. Me and the poor man P. Miller been hot all year on these game lines. We looking to stay hot this week, no doubt about it. All right, let's get to what everybody wants to get to. The big money, the big payouts, the over and under, your parlays on Underdog, Prize Picks, Dabble. Go look at all the lines. If you like a player that week, go look at every line that he's got for that week. I'm hitting on some tonight just for Thursday night. I got a little slate going just for the night. Washington. And by the way, I'm going to place a little small bet on Washington plus 3.5 versus the Eagles tonight. And if both quarterbacks are cooking, the over would hit too. But I'm going to place a small one on Washington plus 3.5. Jayden Daniels over 221.5 passing yards. Jalen Hurts over 0.5 rushing touchdowns. He's, I think it's like 10 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns last 4 games. Jalen Hurts is hot. Devonte Smith over 51.5 receiving yards. Kraftman also caught him at 52.5 receiving yards. Terry McClaurin over 62.5 receiving yards. Easy money. Gus Edwards over 34.5 rushing yards. Puka Nacua over 67.5 receiving yards. George Pickens over 66.5 receiving yards. Derrick Henry over 19.5 rushing attempts. DeAndre Swift under 66.5 rushing yards. I think we got a couple of them in here that we're betting on the under. We usually throw a couple of those, and we've been pretty successful on those for the most part this year. If you notice, like most of these bets, over this, over that, we're just trying to pick the best matchups, high over and under games, where the fantasy points are going to be. Will Levis over 0.5 pass touchdowns. Calvin Ridley over 21.5. Longest reception, over 21.5 yards. Will Levis throws the ball deep. Let's just connect on one of them. Bo Nix over 19.5 pass completions. Look, man, I'm a Falcons fan. Bo Nix probably just going to, carve him up. I'm just being honest. He'll probably be efficient. Bo Nix, man, easy. My most confident one of the week. Bijan Robinson over 68.5 rushing yards. I don't know if y'all noticed, but Bijan's been hot. He's been hot. CJ Stroud over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Joe Mixon over 86.5 rushing yards. Christian McCaffery over 79.5 rushing yards. Alvin Kamara under 72.5 rushing yards. Kraftman dipping back into that one because he hit on that one last week. Going right back to it. Brian Robinson Jr. over 5.5 receiving yards. Kareem Hunt over 0.5 receiving or rushing touchdowns. Man, big slate. And if that was too much for you to handle, go check in the description. I'll have it all typed out for you. Every bet that we've placed. The crew in total this week placed 27 bets. So let's go get that money. Short little solo podcast this week. Just get down right to business, man. Getting it out. Get to it. Cash out. But with that said, add the podcast 5-star review. Tell a friend about the podcast. Go join the Discord. Check us out on YouTube. Other than that, we out.